my name is Yogita and you're watching Yogilogy. Today's video is about CSIR Net and why it is important for science students. I will be sharing the names of some standard textbooks for each unit and some tips and tricks. So let's quickly get started.
Here I have the agenda for today. First, introduction to joint CSIR UGC NET. Then second, why it is important for science students. Third, what to study and from where. And fourth, how to apply for the test. Let's try to understand what on earth is joint CSIR UGC NET. CSIR stands for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. UGC stands for University Grants Commission. NET stands for National Eligibility Test. So let me put this all together for you. Joint Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, University Grants Commission's National Eligibility Test. Awesome. Why this test is conducted? It is conducted to determine the eligibility for Junior Research Fellowship and for Lectureship Assistant Professor in Indian universities and colleges. Sounds great? Moving on. Why is CSIR NET important for science students? Once you qualify the test, you can apply for the post of assistant professor across all colleges and universities in India. You can join the best institutes for your PhD program. And third, you are paid a good amount for doing your PhD. Fellowship awarded is around 31,000 per month for JRF, and after completing 2 years, it is around 35,000 as SRF. Moving on, which other institutes I can join? All universities, IITs, postgraduate colleges, government research institutes like CSIR, research and development labs, both private and public firms, and other recognized institutions. What is the syllabus for CSIR NET and where should I study from? Just follow what I am saying. I'll walk you through the syllabus right now. If you have a pen and paper, quickly note down the books for each unit and trust me, half of your work is done. There are total 13 units. Quickly, let me move on to the first unit, molecules and their interactions relevant to biology. This unit focuses on structure, function and interaction in biomolecules like carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids and vitamins. Enzymes are also included in this unit. You can use any standard textbook for biochemistry for this. Leninger, for example, will be of good help. Second unit is on cellular organization, membrane structure and transport, cell and its organelles, cell division. Such topics are included in this unit. Molecular biology of the cell by Bruce Albert. Okay, I will strongly recommend this book. Fundamental processes, unit 3, which includes DNA replication, transcription, translation, gene expression, repair and recombination. Again, molecular biology of the cell by Bruce Albert is one of the best books to refer for this unit. Unit 4, cell communication and cell signaling. This unit includes immunology, cellular communications and cancer. Trust me, Immunology by QB is the best book to refer for this unit. Unit 5, Developmental Biology. Developmental Biology by Gilbert or Wolpert. Okay, any of these books can be referred. Unit 6, System Physiology Plant. Plant Physiology by Tays and Zeiger, okay, is one of the good books to refer for this unit. Unit 7, System Physiology Animal. Animal Physiology by Tortora is the simplest of all books for this unit. Unit 8, Inheritance Biology. Genetics, a conceptual approach by Benjamin Pierce or any other genetics books will do for this unit. Unit 9, Diversity of Life Forms. Biology by Raven or Campbell. You can refer for this. Unit 10, Ecological Principles, Fundamentals of Ecology by Eugene P. Odem. Unit 11, Evolution and Behavior. Again, Biology by Raven or Campbell will cover the basics of this unit. Unit 12, Applied Biology. Biotechnology books by B.D. Singh, T.A. Brown, Principles of Gene Manipulation and Genomics, Primrose, Molecular Cloning, Sambrook and Russell. You can refer to any of these books. Coming to the last unit, Unit 13, Methods in Biology. Biotechnology and biostats are included in this unit, and most instrument and techniques used in above units are covered in this unit. Hence, you need not refer to any special reference books. You can refer to any of the above mentioned reference books. Why is the syllabus so vast? Yes, the syllabus is definitely vast and the test is rated as one of the toughest to qualify, but trust me, if you can visualize and plan your study accordingly, it's easy to crack. One more reason for the syllabus to be so diverse is that all biological science candidates have to apply under subject life sciences. Because CSIR NET is conducted in 5 main subjects: chemical sciences, physical sciences, earth sciences, mathematical sciences and life sciences. Candidates, whether they are biotechnology, biochemistry, microbiology, life sciences, zoology, botany, food sciences or any other biological science, have to apply for subject life science. Here you can see a quick analysis of December 2019 CSIR NET question paper, and units are scored according to the difficulty level. Among the 13 units, the majority of students who appeared for the test found Unit 3 fundamental processes, which includes DNA replication, transcription, translation, as the unit from which most of the difficult questions were asked, and Unit 9 diversity of life forms, which includes taxonomy and classification of plants and animals, as easy scoring questions were asked from this unit. Let's move to the next slide. What is the paper pattern? It is a single paper with multiple choice question. The test carries a maximum of 200 marks. The exam is 3 hours duration, and since December 2019 the examination is conducted as computer based test only, CBT, and there is negative marking for incorrect answers. So let me quickly show you the marks distribution scheme and paper pattern for the test. The question paper is divided into 3 parts. All the parts consist of objective type multiple choice questions. There are no breaks between the papers. And part A consists of general aptitude questions with emphasis on logical reasoning, graphical analysis, quantitative comparison, series formation and puzzles, etc. Part B consists of subject related, that is life science subject related conventional multiple choice questions. Part C, higher order analytical type questions. You all must have heard about HOTS, right? So this section basically will have HOTS question, that this basically tests for the candidate's knowledge of scientific concept and application of scientific concepts. So coming to the table, total questions asked in part A are 20, part B are 50 and part C are 75, out of which a candidate can attempt a maximum of 15 questions in part A, 35 questions in part B and 25 questions in part C. So there is a lot of option to select from. Part A and Part B questions carry 2 marks each. Part C questions carries 4 marks each. There is a negative marking, as I have already said, at the rate of 25% for each incorrect answer. What that means is a total of half mark will be deducted in Part A and B for each incorrect answer, and a total of 1 mark will be deducted from Part C for each incorrect answer. So part A carries a total of 30 marks. Note that these are general aptitude questions and are common for all 5 subjects. Part B carries a total of 70 marks subject related questions, and Part C carries a maximum, that is 100 marks subject related questions, application based questions. So total being 200 marks. Am I eligible for the test? How many times can I attempt this test? Is there any age limit? And how can I apply for the test? Yes, I am going to cover all these questions right away. Students with MSc or equivalent degree, integrated bachelor's and master's, BS, BE, BTech, BPharm, MBBS are eligible to apply for this test with minimum marks obtained 55% and above for general category and 50% and above for reserved category. Students enrolled for MSc or having completed 10 plus 2 plus 3 years can also apply in results awaited category. Next, is there any age limit? Yes, for JRF there is an upper age limit of 28 years for all applicants and a relaxation of up to 5 years for reserved and female applicants. For lectureship and assistant professor there is no upper age limit. Next question that arises is, how many times can I attempt this test? There is no limit on the number of attempts. Sounds good? How can I apply for the test? It's a total online application system. Applications are invited twice a year in the month of March and around October, and exams are conducted in June and December each year. By visiting the official website of CSIR, you can fill the online application form right away. CSIR hrdg.res.in. This is the official link. What is the cutoff for the test? The cutoff varies every year and depends on the number of fellowships available. For December 2019, cutoff was 54.5% for JRF and 49.05% for lectureship assistant professor under reserved category. Let's move to the interesting part of today's talk, tips and tricks. To start with, work on topics you are passionate about, refer to standard textbooks which we have just discussed, and make your own notes. Try to understand the basics of each concept. This will help in scoring in Part C application based questions which carry 4 marks each. As the syllabus is vast, think smart. Smart is the new way to work, and the best way to polish up your skills and improve your performance is to solve CSIR NET previous year's question papers. And if you have enjoyed my talk today, then you should definitely watch my other videos where I solve previous year's question papers and pick up frequently asked topics from each unit and explain each unit in detail.
I hope you liked today's video, and do like, share and subscribe to my channel. All the best and thanks for watching.